Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the daily stock market update show. And this is where we break down support and resistance levels for QQQ, Sp500, as well as Tesla, Nvidia, Apple, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, and Meta. So if there are any of those tickers that you guys want to look at, you can jump to the timestamps. It's in the comments below on YouTube. And as well as we'll be talking about the most likely scenario where these price action would likely be heading. And what's the most likely scenario. So let's take a look at QQQ. So QQQ, we have been actually, let's look at the data first. Forgot about that. So we have AAII sentiment data coming in every Thursday, and we take a look to see the current bearishness or bullishness in the market. So we are still actually quite bearish overall this week, even though the market has been quite green. So this gave us a little bit of clue saying that there's still a lot of money potentially on the sidelines that still hasn't got in. So that may be a little bit more fuel if this starts to shift over to more on the bull side. So we'll see about that next week. And so that's what I'll be looking for. If we continue to go green, that may be that the bears are starting to give up and the money on the sidelines may start to come back in as well and potentially have another move up. So that's the fundamental part. And as well, we have data today coming in on the core PCE, which is the preferred data that the Federal Reserve looks at. So they like to look at this to see how's inflation going. And we got it pretty much in line, the forecast. So market don't like surprises or, so there was no huge downside or upside today based on the data that we got. As well as this came in slightly a little bit softer, but nothing too significant from the forecast. So same thing, no surprises. And that's good news because that gave us the rate hike probabilities shifted even more. You guys know where I talked about it, I think on Monday, where it shifted because we have softer JOLTS data, meaning softer job openings, and a softer GDP shifted the rate hikes from last week, Jackson Hole. We actually have another rate hike priced in, and now it's priced back to a hold for the rest of the year. So that just means that softer economic data, the market thinks that the Feds don't need to go as hard anymore on the hikes. So price back into a hold for the rest of the year versus a one more hike. So now it's looking like it's actually going to be a hold because this, but who knows? We could have a bad CPI data, come in September, October, and next thing you know, this shifts back to a hike, right? So we just got to go by the data once they shift or not when they come in. But as of now, it's a hold. All right, let's take a look at the technical side of things now. So yesterday I talked about where we're likely coming back to test this 380. And then after that, it's anyone's game. So pretty much we did that in the morning. We broke out of this quadruple top from yesterday. Right there. It's very clear resistance from yesterday where we just never went above it. And once we did, we can see some volume come in. And then we shot straight up to the next level of resistance, this 380 zone. And that was it for the rest of the day. And we went sideways. And interesting enough, this hourly EMA 12 is still holding. I think I talked about this on Tuesday or Monday or yesterday, whatever day. But this hourly EMA 12, this teal looking line, here's the exponential moving average on the 12, has been bouncing for you short-term traders. It's a very good guide. Use it as a support. And every time it bounces off of it, just continue to hold your long position. And we're still above it, but we're getting a bit close to potentially breaking it. But breaking it doesn't mean we're always going to roll over. It just means that it's just a short-term support that breaks. Because 12 EMA is a momentum EMA because it's on the 12. And so we'll see if it continues to bounce off of it again overnight or not. But we did. So we broke above it, right? So you guys know what I talk about when we break above something, we want to retest it and then bounce off of that. So we did exactly that. But we didn't see any, the bounce wasn't very significant. So this is more so a tightening range move. The next move is within the prior move. So that's an equilibrium, how it forms. So see, this move is within higher than this low. And now this bounce is also within the high. So is this drop. So now this is a tightening range. We'll see. It'll break exactly pretty much tomorrow. Might even break overnight, actually, the future chart. because we're getting pretty close to the tiny range. And this is just the hourly chart. So it's not something like we're looking at the weekly chart. So this range will break tomorrow, and whichever range this breaks, we will get probably a little bit more fall through on that side. If we do break bull, we're probably retesting 380. And if we break that, we're probably going to get some follow through to 382. And if we break down the downside, we're probably coming back down here to test this 375 support again. So that is the most likely scenario for tomorrow. And as of now, 0 red flags on the daily chart for bulls, because ever since we broke this Thursday's high, it's been in on a daily uptrend and follow the trend. So now monthly, I talked about it yesterday, where monthly potentially maybe a monthly bull flag. And as of now, we'll see how if September shades up. September shades up a pullback. It's still in a bull flag, but we might pull back a couple percent. So who knows? And we might tighten up and then break into the end of the year. So we'll see about that. But other than that, no signs of bears at the moment, actually. So probability is starting to shift more and more towards the bull side, that we might test the all-time highs in the year. But the bears can still show up here and form a weekly downtrend. But it's a bit much to ask now, because we're looking at a 6.5% pullback before we confirm a weekly downtrend. This is top of the move, this pivot set, right? Because we have retraced so much of it already. You guys know how I talked about the size of the move, right? The size of the move gives the probability of the next move. So the size of this drop was supposed to favor the bears for a weekly downtrend. But now, after this bounce, now it's favoring the bulls on this next weekly pullback, that they can shape that weekly uptrend back to their favor. Because of the size of the move, there's a lot of room to work with, meaning even if we drop 3-4%, it still have room higher than this low to form that weekly uptrend that we're currently seeing right now on the charts. Yeah, even on the hourly, we don't have the downtrend. Actually, nope, we don't. So this is top of the move. This is the bounce. And bears essentially need to just break this hourly candle's low. That would be 376.97 right there for an hourly downtrend to confirm. So that's just the very first step for bears to even show up, for us to say, okay, maybe there's a little bit of bears today. Now, 0 signs of that. And this would be the level I'm looking at, because this 376.97 is exactly yesterday's resistance, now acting as support. So bears can clear that and form an hourly downtrend and break that support at the same time. Then we probably get follow through from into at least 375. And then after that is anybody's game. We'll see from there. All right, let's take a look at SPY. SPY, similar, hit that resistance zone. Remember we talked about yesterday that this zone coincides with QQQ's this resistance right here, this 380 zone. So QQQ played catch up today into SPY, and now they're hitting the same resistance zone, the same spot right there. You can see this level is also this level. That makes sense. A slight rejection here, and no big deal. It's still in a daily uptrend and likely pull back a little bit, form another pivot. And so we zoom in to see, give us more clues. So SPY formed an hourly downtrend here. This initial move is a bounce. That's the pivot being set. And we broke below this low right there. Slightly, because SPY has been outperforming for the last couple of days on this move up. And today is a little bit underperforming QQ. So QQ was playing a little bit of a catch up, which helped SPY held up today. All the other sectors in SPY are a little bit weaker. So still just a rotation. As long as market rotates money around the market into different sectors, then it's a good sign for bulls. The bears want to see all sectors being red. That means money is leaving the market. So currently, we don't see that yet. So no fear or market being low at the same day. So not low at the same day. All the sectors being low at the same time. And that's money leaving the market. So we don't see that yet. And we did saw that on, I think it was over, for which day it was, on one of these drops where you can see it. Many of the sectors were red at the same time, and trading at the low of a day together. So that's the difference between when we're on a downtrend, daily downtrend, and now we're on a daily uptrend. All right, so bears got their first sign on SPY. So now where are we looking at? Probably we're coming back down to, there's not a lot of supports along the way. So if we do drop, I'm probably looking at this 445.4. Yeah, this 445 range. 1%. Yeah, that happens. I wouldn't be surprised. But it would probably take some work for bears to bring us back down to 445. And 445 on the daily doesn't even look that far. So we'll still be, if we come down to 445, which is the prior resistance, it's going to act as support for sure. And it will likely bounce here. It'll still be higher than the prior pivot. So that means the daily trend is still set. Let me see if it's still a bull flag here. Daily bull flag would be close to 4 for now. It's not that close to 4. 50% market is closer to 445, but so even if we pull back, let's say we come down to here, 446, then bounce, then that's still a daily bull flag on the table at the moment. But I definitely, as a bull, I definitely don't want to see SPY break below 445. That would start to shift a little bit of momentum into the bear side. We may start to get that tiny range that I talked about in the long term if that shapes up here. So we'll see. Up watch for the next couple of days, Friday and into next week. Monday is a holiday, so no trading Monday. So it'll be probably Tuesday and Wednesday before we see any signs of potentially pullbacks or we can tighten up. So that would tighten up into the end of the year. And then or more into like November. And then we'll see a break of whichever side into the end of the year. But now, no signs of that yet because I want to see more follow through from the bears for us to say, okay, this may be a decent pullback where we can form a tightening range. So that I'll let you guys know. On Tesla, not much to break down today compared to yesterday. So yeah, pretty much a inside, not an inside bar, but just a pretty non-fireworks day. And sometimes when you see QQQ up 5.5%, Tesla is up like 2%. But today is still just chilling as well after its stellar 8% day. So not much to break down here today. We are in this volume zone where it means it takes time to digest volumes. So they may potentially be sellers here that wants to get break even. So before any of that gets digested, could potentially be trading around here for a little bit, unless we see some QQQ fireworks where QQQ just goes up another 1 to 2% tomorrow or Tuesday. Then we may get a break here as well. But as of now, QQQ is also chilling a little bit, so not much fireworks either. So it's good for bulls to consolidate overall to form foundations and structures overall in charts, especially after a significant bull move. So it's yeah, especially if you consolidate at the top of its range, then it's a good sign for the bulls for potentially the next move. Let's say you bounce all the way up here and you pull back super quick, and then you start to consolidate at the low of its range, then that's a bad sign for the bulls. But we are consolidating at the top of its range. So that's a good sign. All right, let's take a look at Nvidia. Let's see. Okay. Nvidia, same thing. Not much to break down today. Completely flat versus yesterday. Very similar with Tesla. We're talking about just consolidating its range right now after a significant move. And it makes sense. It's been rejecting from this 500 psychological resistance yesterday. Now just taking a break. No big deal. Let's see. Yeah, 11% move in the last 3 days, right? Not counting today. So it's a very significant move. And for it bulls to be able to consolidate right under resistance, it means the psychology of it just means that they would want to probably test that 500 again. So we'll see. So if as long as it holds above this 489 and this 480 zone, so we come down here, bounce back up, right? We're probably going to test this 500 again. Obviously, given if QQ doesn't roll over, but as of now, QQ doesn't have any signs of rolling over. So we'll see about that. Even on the hourly, let's say, yeah, very sideways, completely sideways today. Yes, forming a tightening range, same thing as QQQ, where I talked about that tightening range, very likely breaking tomorrow. This will likely break tomorrow as well. As you can see, this is a low. This low is higher than the prior low. This low is higher than the prior low. So it's forming a tightening range. Same thing over here. This high is lower than this high. So it just tighten up into within its prior range. And it will break likely tomorrow morning. And we'll know. All right, Apple. So Apple, I talked about yesterday where if we gap up to here, 190, it's probably a good short, but we didn't get there. So, but we got somewhat close to it, to the bottom of this level, this range right here, cluster. And yeah, a little bit of a sell-off at the end of the day. So that may be a sign that Apple wants a little bit of consolidation now. Very significant move up. Daily uptrend came from right there and with follow through. Good sign. So now it probably wants to take a little bit of rest and consolidate it. The next move up to 190 zone. Because if we straight shot up to that 190, pretty much not guarantee, but 90%, we're probably going to pull back like what we just did over here. And yeah, so Apple needs a little break. And let's take a look at the hourly. So this was a bull break straight into a pullback here. Interesting. So yeah, there may be some fund managers just selling into the end of the day, getting rid of some short-term profits probably. But I wouldn't call this a red flag because it's just two red candles, big sell-off. That's it, right? It could be one dude clicking the sell button, or maybe two dude. But what I want to see is a hourly trend change. So I'm convinced when trend changes just means that it's very convincing selling. So the psychology of a trend change, let's say we get a sell, like a big sell like this, bounce, and we sold back down again. That means the seller are serious because they sell here and they still sell on the bounce again. So that means sellers are serious on trend changes. Same thing as buyers. Bounce, buy again, right? So that's why important is trend changes. If it's just a one straight move like this, the trend changes, I wouldn't say it's too big of a deal. We're pretty overbought anyways. So fund manager taking profit, it's pretty normal. So yeah, no signs of red flags other than this could potentially be topping out on a daily in the short term. So we can pull back a little and then we'll see if we can form some support and zones here. Go a little bit sideways maybe, and then potentially shape up for the next move up. Yeah, that'll be very ideal for bulls. Form some tightening range and bounce closer to the top of the range. Form some support here in this zone, and then go from there. So now, no red flags for bulls after a 10% bounce. All right, Amazon. And Amazon is the lead bull today. So funny thing I was talking about yesterday where Amazon being the weakest and that it can potentially flip and shift. And honestly, I said that the scenario is probably not that likely, but we ended up getting it. So if I were to bet my house on it, I would have gotten wrong. But we ended up getting the most unlikely scenario, but which makes sense because you guys know where I talked about money rotating in the market just earlier, where if we continue to see rotation between these mega cap tech stocks between each other and the sectors within SPY, right? That means there is no fear in the market and money is just rotating around each other, meaning money is not leaving the market. So when we see all sectors and all major sectors being red and at the lowest day, that means there's fear in the market and money is leaving overall the market. So as long as we see, let's say Amazon being green today, Microsoft being weak, and Apple being decent, right? money is rotating with each other. Market will stay afloat and no red flags. So that's why we saw today Amazon playing catch up, but I still want to see Microsoft do some work here. Microsoft is a little bit lagging behind. And so we'll see. And so now we have a big enough bounce shaping up for Amazon back into a neutral trend from a daily downtrend now into a neutral trend, where the next pullback, very likely we can shape up a daily uptrend now back to Amazon's favor. So you can see when we broke above today's 163, let's take a look, see what happens. So yeah, right in the morning, broke above this 163, and then it just volume kept coming in, which coincides with that Thursday's top. Everything's good. And we can pull back a little bit, bounce off of support, kept going. So we'll see if it continues tomorrow, playing some catch up to the other of its peers. It's a good sign. So there's two arguments saying for both bears and bulls. Bulls can say that, okay, so Meta and Microsoft, let's say yesterday, right? Let's say we're talking about it yesterday, and we say, okay, Meta, Microsoft, and Amazon hasn't confirmed its daily uptrend yet. So if they do, then they'll give QQQ more fear. No, not fear, fuel. And then QQQ is going to head higher. But the bear argument is that, okay, so they haven't confirmed daily uptrends, then that means they can potentially confirm more downsides, and that can drag QQQ down. So that's why we look at these 7 mega cap tech stocks to see who's going to join who, if Amazon's going to join Team Bull with Apple or vice versa. And today we see that Amazon decides to join Team Bull. And we'll look at the rest to see who's going to be joining who. So you can see now Apple can take a little bit of break, right? After carrying the market. Apple can now take a break, pull back a little bit, while Amazon can head a little bit higher. And actually, Microsoft can try to head a little bit higher. But as of now, Microsoft is still not showing up anything yet. We'll take a look at it in a second. Let's go to Google. Okay, so Google was strong as well in the morning, but now it's taking a break as well. Same thing as Apple. You can see from that upper wick. The last minute, yeah, it was also that last minute. End of the day, essentially someone was taking profit here at the end of the day. Interesting. So we'll see if there's more follow through from the seller tomorrow, actually. Let's see if we hit any key resistance here. $138. Yeah, 138 is actually pretty key resistance. You can see rejection here, rejection here, rejection here, rejection another twice here. And when we're above it, bounce off of here twice. It made sense. Google couldn't get over above that today. But you can also argue Google has been a little bit tired after a 8.3% bounce into a strong resistance. So a pullback is very normal. And you want to see Google shape up another chop zone. Probably. After every time it moves up, it just shapes up another chop zone. You can see down here. See from here, we come up here and we move a complete sideways chop zone. And then another move up here, another complete sideways chop zone. And we broke above it, another complete sideways chop zone. So we technically, I would say we broke above another zone now. So we can actually chop around this zone for a bit. Where it wants to move its next leg or next leg down or up. So we'll see if it pulls back, if it can bounce above here, retest, or it's going to come all the way down here and then form another chop zone. Let's do that. Get more clues tomorrow if that seller at the end of the day is going to sell more tomorrow or not. Microsoft still not even above Thursday's high, so still relatively weaker compared to its peers. 6.2% from the lows. But it makes sense because Microsoft was outperforming its peers on this way up compared to Google and Amazon. So Google and Amazon is now catching up to Microsoft while Microsoft is taking a break around this range. this level is the structure of its prior all-time highs. So yeah, no Microsoft bulls is complaining here. I mean, we're pretty much close to November's all-time highs around these levels. So take a look at the hourly. These clues. Yeah, relatively weaker today for sure. Should have gone over this 330 zone. Even that QQ was green today by like 0.5%. So this looks like it's going to come from an hourly downtrend here if we don't bounce tomorrow. So if it breaks below this 326, it's probably going to come from hourly downtrend. And it'll put a little bit of weight on QQQ if that happens. It's going to come back down to 325 if that happens. And we'll go from there. So, but if it holds, if it tightens up, bounces here tomorrow, holds, and then breaks, then yeah, no red flags. We didn't break the hourly downtrend, and we break bull. Let's see that tomorrow morning. Meta. All right, so it tried. It confirmed its daily uptrend right here when we broke 300, but it came back all the way to it and closed below it. So that is a slight red flag for me. Let's see at this end of the day. Same thing. Seller end of the day. Making that upper wick look like that. Because if we just close at 298, then that wick wouldn't look so ugly on so many charts. We would have been over here instead on that. So yeah, there was some seller end of the day. The last 10 minutes. And we'll see if Meta can retest that 300 and confirm the daily uptrend. So it already confirmed, but it's lacking zero follow through. We want to see some follow through here from the bulls. The good news is we are still at the top of this range versus bottom of this range, right? So we're closer to resistance than we are to support. So that means we still have a chance to test this. If we broke above and it came back and kind of all the way here to 89, then I would tell you guys the most likely scenario is we're going to head lower. But at the moment, we still have a chance to retest this 300 because we're very close to the resistance yet still. So, and we're still above the 12 EMA. We'll see tomorrow if when that bulls can show up and that that seller at the end of the day, it's just a one day thing. If we see more selling tomorrow, then we know it's probably some funds and other things that are wanting to sell more. As of now, we don't have that data yet because we only got 10 minutes, 15 minutes on some selling here, but it's pretty normal from time to time. Sometimes we get those 15 minutes buying as well, end of the day volume and selling. So it's nothing too out of the ordinary. All right, it's like off for you guys. And if you guys are looking for commodity video, natural gas, gold, and silver, and the US dollar, check out my previous video on the natural gas, where I just uploaded it. And feel free to like, subscribe, and share if you guys learned anything or made it this far. They're always appreciated. And I will see you guys tomorrow for stock market updates. And Saturday, I'll post another commodities update. And if you guys have any questions, comment below. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great rest of you guys' day.